We have Joseph Habedank with us today here at NQC,
Yeah, man.
and we're just excited to be able to take a few minutes with you.
Well,
I always
thank
like
you.
to share with our artists that our target audience is actually the Gen Z, it's a younger audience.
How about
That
that?
is who we're going after.
That's awesome.
And we're excited the fact that they are starting to really gravitate to the gospel music.
Yeah.
We're seeing such a huge aspect of that. But we want them to know that they're hearing the music. There's a real person there that lives a real life. So what we would do is introduce yourself and tell something a little bit about yourself that maybe not readily known or just something fun about you to let them know.
My name is Joseph Habedank. I sing Christian music, and something a lot of people don't know is I was raised on a llama farm. True story.
Raised on a llama
Raised
farm.
on a llama farm.
Where was that at?
So I grew up in a little town called Xenia, Ohio, just outside of Dayton, and we lived in a home of a businessman. I had a single mom, so we didn't have a lot. We were very poor, and my mom and this businessman he was an older man, and he let us live in this home for free, pretty much. But his daughter lived next door, and she had llamas. When I say llamas, I'm talking like 100 llamas.
Wow.
So llamas literally surrounded my upbringing
Those are
on
so-
Nash Road in Xenia, Ohio. So yeah,
That's not a normal growing up
nah,
right
it's
around llamas.
it's the
So
strangest thing. One of the strangest things about me, but there are several others.
okay. Well, that's pretty strange.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty neat there. So obviously you've been in the industry for a while. So one of the things that we like to do is to really just our younger audience, as far as the music, how do you find the music, pick the music? What is it that you kind of look for?
Well, I write all my music, so I think the biggest thing for me is finding creative ways to be different in the writing room and writing about things that other people don't necessarily write about, whether it's about recovery, religion, Judas, Goliath. I write about the villains a lot in the Bible and try to figure out like what can we learn from the villains in the Bible, what can we learn from the devil, because there are things to be learned there. So yeah, I've always tried to write things that other people don't really want to write about. So
Yes,
that's something
and
it's a big part of my process.
we love that in the music. And that's the thing is and because our target audience is that Gen Z, we've been involved with a lot of the research. What are they looking for? What are those things? And it's been amazing as we've watched both secular groups that kind of interview them, religious groups. Both groups came to the same conclusion that most of the Gen Z, they believe everybody's lying to them. They look at social media.
Wow.
They're sitting there going, we know it's fake. We know it's not real. We know
Filtered.
this is
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all filtered, all of those things. And so when they came back with an alternate question going, okay, so what are you looking for? And over 85%, this has been consistent for the last 10 years with Gen Z. Over 85% said, we're waiting for somebody to tell us the truth.
Wow.
And so the word authentic is used a lot, real. We're looking for that. And
Yeah.
that's where we feel like gospel music
Yeah.
is meeting that need. It's real world issues with a biblical worldview, which is what we love about the music you're writing because it's real.
Thank
Tell
you.
us a little bit about your testimony and stuff because I know that really is, I mean, it's as real as it gets.
Yeah, so I was a drug addict. I was on drugs for many years, prescription drugs, and I was taking painkillers and stealing them and going to doctors. And, it started legitimately. I had an ulcer on my throat, started taking medicine, and fell in love with the feeling of it and got hooked and just about lost everything, lost my job. And I checked into a treatment facility and did 4 weeks inpatient, 5 weeks outpatient. Then I did 90 meetings in 90 days, got a sponsor, started working a program, and started taking it one day at a time. And today I've been clean and sober for 4,141 days today.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think the craziest thing about it for me is that it really started as a legitimate need. I had pain and I took a painkiller and loved the way it made me feel. My chemistry and my brain thought, oh, this is what you need to feel normal, to function. And but yeah, that's my story. And now I get to go all over the country and I tell my story every night wherever I go. And I'm grateful that I get to do it. I'm proud that I get to do it. I'm not ashamed of what Jesus has done in my life, and I'm so grateful for His redemption and restoration, and it's been an amazing journey.
Awesome. So a lot of times they look at artists like yourself and they see the glamour side of it, travel, get to
Yeah.
go all these other places. So let's take a minute and talk about what are some of the ugly things, the difficult things of traveling. What does that look like?
Well, I think one of the hardest things for me is learning how to relax on the road, because there's a lot of different, it's a lot of pressure for me. At least I feel a lot of pressure, whether it's the bus or my band or obviously performing. And performing is usually when I'm the most comfortable, those 2 hours that I'm on stage. The rest of the time, the travel, the setup, the tear down, finding somewhere to eat. You would think the on stage would be the hard part. To me, that's the easy part. Everything else can be very challenging and mentally. And I'm actually in the process right now. I would love to tell you I've got it figured out, but I'm still in the process after doing this for 21 years. Just in the last month, I realized, I stress a lot on the road, and I'm trying to figure out, how to cast my care on Jesus and kind of give it to Him, and try not to be such a stress box as it. And my guys that I've got a piano player and a guitar player, and they've been so gracious. I'll have to come to them after sound check and say, guys, sorry, I was a little bit stressed during sound check today, and of course they're very gracious and kind. And Lindsay's, my wife's actually on the road with us. She's been on the road with me for over 10 years now, and she runs the sound, so that can be amazing and challenging. We literally, this is a true story. We have gone to counseling for sound check. That's a true story. That is a true story.
Real stuff,
You can't make this stuff up. So we don't fight nearly as much, but we still have our moments. Like sound check is bad. Like it used to get bad. Like we'd fight in front of people, like pastors. We just not like fist fight, but I mean, but yeah, we'd get into it, and she was like, we got to stop this. I said, well, I'm not. What do you want me to do? She said, we're going to go talk to somebody, and we did.
That's awesome.
And so thank you to Alice, our marriage counselor, for helping us learn how to work in sound check. I wish I was kidding. That's a true story.
No, that's amazing.
That is a true story.
Marriage life is hard enough as it is.
Yeah, then you work together.
And then when you work together, and you're doing it for 30 some years. Yeah,
oh, you understand?
Oh, I understand completely.
Yeah. Have you guys fought today?
Absolutely, we have.
You have? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I've got a great marriage counselor I can set you up with. Yeah.
I always look back to my grandparents were married for 74 years before my grandfather passed away. I never remember a day that they didn't argue, but at the same time, you couldn't deny the love that they had.
Yeah.
So it was just amazing to be able to see that. So this is what we're talking about, the reality. So the younger generation, they can look on the TikToks and all that stuff, and they see things, and they think, well, that's life, that's where everything's at. But behind the scenes, real people dealing with real things. But the issue is the world doesn't give you an answer.
Yeah.
Or God does in the music. So tell us about some of the songs that you've written and that message that you're trying to get out. Well,
I told somebody the other day, I feel like what we do is we're hope dealers. Like we deal hope, we sell hope. And that's kind of what I do is letting people know that, no matter what you're walking through, but especially those who are going through addiction, don't give up. There's always hope as long as you're breathing. There's hope. And so that's our biggest message, whether it's to the addict or to their family, whether it be their parents, maybe it's your siblings. I've got a sibling that walks through addiction and is going through it now, and it's ugly and messy. And that's, if you're looking for truth, the truth is this: life is messy, and life is hard. It's not easy, and Instagram's not real, and TikTok's not real, but life is messy, but it's worth it with Jesus. That's the realest thing I could tell anybody. It's messy, but it's worth it if you have Jesus.
So, where do you kind of go from here? What's some of the things that's coming up here with you?
Well, I'm getting ready to perform at the Dove Awards next week. On Tuesday.
Yes.
So I better get ready. But I'm super excited about that. I'm grateful to be with all the different genres of Christian music, and there'll be everything from rock to country to hip hop to me,
Yeah,
whatever I am.
whatever
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah.
is.
So I'm looking forward to that, and it'll be interesting. I think CC Winans is singing, and Crowder, and Maverick City,
Oh, yes.
and little old me. So you all pray I don't mess it up. That'd be amazing.
I think you'll fit in
Yeah,
well. I
I
think
hope
you'll
so.
do well. Yeah, and that's the thing is in the music industry, there's such a variety that's out there. But obviously the answer is always coming back to that message.
Right.
That it's the Lord Jesus Christ, His redemptive power as well. And again, life is messy. I mean, you
It
look
is.
back at Jesus' ministry, He dealt with the messy people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times told the church crowd, step back,
Mm-hmm.
let's deal with some things there. And I think that's what I love about the gospel music, because it really is, let's deal with the messy people.
Yeah.
That's how you reach
Well,
them.
Jesus hung out with some tough, rough people.
He did.
They really did. I think the only time he ever got ticked off was in the temple with the Pharisees, the church people.
Yeah.
And but somebody told me something very valuable. Sometimes we don't realize who we are in that story because we're not Jesus. That doesn't mean we go out and hang out with outcasts like he did, or hang out with, the bad group of people. We're the bad group of people. We're the ones that need Jesus. And so that's the greatest thing about who Jesus is. He loves the outcasts. He loves the sinners. And that's real too.
Yeah, and I love that, because that's exactly as we try to portray it. We are that outcast. We are those things, and our job is to get as close to Jesus as we can.
Absolutely.
Because you look at that crowd, they were looking for Him. They were like, boy, that's our hope.
Yeah.
That's our help. But when we stand off and say, we're good, we got this,
Yeah.
Jesus is going to turn around to us and maybe have to turn a few tables over.
That's exactly
while
right.
he's there. So,
That's
thank
exactly
you for
right.
taking a few minutes with us.
Oh,
We
it's my
appreciate
honor.
your ministry.
Thank you
what
for
you're
having
doing,
me.
And we just really want to encourage all the artists. There's a younger audience out there that is gravitating to this.
And I'm trying to reach them too. So thank you all
Yes.
for doing that.
And that's
Thank
exactly
you.
where we're at. So thank you.
God
Appreciate it.
bless you.